festive is this? How good is this? A good day to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm John Anik. Welcome to the UFC 264 betting preview presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. And man, have we got all hands on deck today as I am joined by the veteran mixed martial arts journalist from The Ringer, Chuck Mindenhall, and a man who really needs no introduction around these parts or any other from the 305, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. And we got a lot to get into today, boys, so let us get right to it. As many of you know, the trilogy is upon us, UFC 264, Poirier versus McGregor 3. So where are the betting odds right now as we come to you here during the middle of fight week? Dustin Poirier holding as the favorite, minus 130. The comeback on Conor McGregor at plus 108. Chuck, we will begin with you. DraftKings Sportsbook opened this as a pick'em. Some money has come in on Dustin Poirier. Why do you think he's the betting favorite, at least right now?
I think that it's just that we saw in January, the last fight, we saw what he was able to do. I think a lot of that has to do with an esoteric stake. So when he fought in 2014, when they first met,
right,
it was the Conor McGregor show. It was all downhill momentum for that guy. I felt like everything was a part of the Conor McGregor bubble. This was kind of the perfect setup for him, for Dustin Poirier to go into a situation where there's a couple thousand fans at Fight Island to really focus in, put all that aside, and do what he did. And I felt like, I'm sure you guys will agree to an extent, I felt like he had a lot of options to him on how he might want to take that fight. And
right,
he had McGregor kind of dancing to his tune a little bit. It really comes down to the adjustments that McGregor's going to make. But I think the line is actually just about there. To me, it feels like a coin flip. So,
well, Jorge, Dustin Poirier is your longtime teammate and friend. What can you tell us about his training camp and ultimately the position that he comes in to this trilogy?
I can tell you he's in phenomenal shape, man. I've been in there since the start of the camp, and he came in shape, you know. He wasn't messing around. He knew that third fight was going to happen at some point, so it's not like he went home and gave himself any slack. He came back full six-packed out, in shape. Right. He was doing 5 rounds since he got back. You know, I usually see him progress, and he gets in better shape every week. I mean, he came in fight shape already on week 1, and it's just, he's looking phenomenal, man. He's going to hurt somebody.
All right, well, the series is 1-1. And the trilogy, of course, is going to be completed here in a matter of days. And we want to welcome in the 4th member of our broadcast team. He is the Director of Race and Sportsbook Operations for DraftKings, Johnny Avello, certainly a legend around these parts. And I know for me and Chuck, it's been great to get to know you and chop it up with you a little bit. What can you tell us about the handle and the action that has come in on this main event thus far?
Well, first of all, guys, I love the element I'm in. I'm in a sports book where people bet money and win money. It couldn't feel any better. The money that's being bet on this so far is actually coming on McGregor. Although the line move has gone from a pick to minus 30. That's because most of the money has come in as of late. But as far as bets are concerned, about 55% of the bets are on McGregor, 45% on Poirier. Now, this is one interesting fact, guys. Will the fight end in the first 60 seconds of the first round? I have never seen this since I've been bookmaking. 100% on the money says yes.
Yeah, I believe that. So, Johnny, when you're setting a line for this trilogy fight, obviously Conor McGregor was a much more prohibitive favorite for that second meeting. You opened this a pick'em. Any insight as to why you opened at that number?
Well, let's go back to the first fight back in 14. We opened McGregor minus 280. He wins that fight easily. Now we go to the 6 months ago. We open him up, I think it was 280, went up to 330 at close. He loses that fight. So bookmakers have to make adjustments. So we thought a pick'em was the right adjustment for this one. The bettors have told us that the adjustment wasn't enough. So pick him up to 130 so far, Poirier. But I think there's going to be plenty of McGregor money. This fight may even come back.
In my next lifetime, I want to come back as Johnny Avello, but I just got to be John Anik for today. Gamebred, I want to go to you on Dustin Poirier here. What do you think he needs to do to win this fight? I know you have a healthy amount of respect for Conor McGregor, especially early in the fight. What does Dustin have to do to make sure he gets the job done?
I think Conor gets his timing better than anybody, faster than anybody. So if he can't get his timing on the feet right away, he has to do things, move, chop his legs, grapple, wrestle with him. Just take Conor away from that because he's one of the best sprinters. When we're coming off the blocks, man, this guy's a 100-yard sprinter right away. He's in your face right away, landing big shots. I think Dustin's going to be more than ready for it, though. He's faced him twice. They got a lot of strategies going into it. And I think stand-up anyways, since he's dealt with it on those 2 occasions, he knows how quickly he can find his timing. I don't think he's going to catch him by surprise, even on the feet. But I think that is Conor's best strength, is how quickly he can get to where he's good at and stay there.
There is no overstating Poirier's confidence based upon everything he's done in his UFC career with 19 wins, but also the win over Conor McGregor about 6 months or so ago. A lot of people have talked about Conor McGregor in terms of the adjustments. A lot of people feel like he's got to get it done early. What are your thoughts on Conor and ultimately how he chooses to attack in this one?
It's kind of funny how this has happened because it's almost a juxtaposition from the first fight 6 years ago in terms of the psychology here. Conor controlled the narrative. Conor had the psychology behind him, the collective rooting interest, I think. This has gotten strange because I think of the way Poirier showed himself in this last fight. I feel like now the mental side falls to Conor McGregor to react, right? Because he has more to think about. Those calf kicks that were landing and taking his legs out of the action. He also got taken down pretty immediately in that last fight. There's more things for him to do. You can even see it in the gamesmanship going on Twitter a little bit with the first to shoot. Yeah, that whole thing. I feel like there's some mental play, but this time I feel like the mental edge actually goes to Poirier. That stuff fascinates me. And and then you look at a trilogy fight and it becomes the broader picture, right? That becomes maybe Poirier's story the whole way. Like it's one of those type of things. So the stakes are pretty crazy in this one. I feel like the legacies, there's going to be a fork in the road one way or another. I think that Poirier has probably established himself somewhere pretty high anyway, but this would just make him, I know you were talking about him being a Hall of Famer at some point. I think that this would just solidify something like that.
All right, so there's only one member of the panel who's required to make a pick today. Game Bread, it's not you, so that's a good thing. Chuck, who do you have in this main event?
Who I was going to pick.
I think it goes without saying. We can infer. I went back and forth on this. This is a tough one, but I think that ultimately, when I look at it, you look at the evidence from 2014 and you look at it in 2020 in January, I see such a difference. And realistically, Conor McGregor's had what? He's had a couple of fights at lightweight. He's had one victory.
Right.
I think these things really matter. Dustin Poirier has been at it. He's been doing this for so long. You can tell that the aura of this fight doesn't affect him in the way that it might have when he was younger. I just can't pick against him. I'm going Dustin Poirier with this one.
All right, looks like Dustin Poirier is the pick to click for Chuck Mendenhall. All right, co-main event, a healthy appetizer for McGregor and Poirier, of course. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, the fourth-ranked welterweight contender, taking on second-ranked Gilbert Durinho Burns. Johnny Avello, I want to open with you here, at least as we look at the number on DraftKings right now. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, minus 155. Gilbert Durinho Burns, plus 125. What can you tell us about those numbers relative to the opening number and where some of the early action is on the co-main event?
A little bit of movement here. We opened the fight a little bit higher. We had this fight at 165 down to 155. 51% of the handle right now on Burns, 49% of the handle on Thompson. So it's my kind of fight. I love it. I love equal action like that, guys. It's a great fight. We got a jiu-jitsu guy against an outstanding striker. Don't sell this one short either. This looks like it could be a main event any other day.
Bookmakers love that two-way action. Jorge, you have shared the octagon with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I'd imagine he's a difficult guy to fight, to prepare for. You had some success in that fight, obviously, but what makes him such a significant challenge?
He's amazing at keeping it in his distance where not everybody is used to competing in that distance. And he's not fighting the outside. He's fighting like an outside. And, man, he's great at keeping it there the whole time, landing strikes. And a lot of his strikes look like the last strike that he threw, but it's not,
Right.
His side kick blends in really well with his high kick, and his straight punches are followed by kicks. I think he does a really, really good job of just keeping the fight on the outside and never letting you get to your game. I think at 170, Durinho hasn't shown a lot of his grappling skills at 170. He hasn't been able to take guys down and control them. I think he's a little bit undersized. I don't see him having success after the first round. If he was to catch Thompson in the first round and submit him,
right,
I think he could win it. But that's the only way I give him. I'm leaning towards Thompson, heavy landslide, just outworking him every round, stuffing takedowns, and keeping him on the feet and just lighting him up.
Yeah, I mean, Burns definitely has knockout power. You think he needs a floor fight, though, to win? Or
I think on the feet they're, and, crazier things have happened, but I think on the feet they're worlds apart.
Yeah.
As in Thompson understands striking. Durinho just realized that he has a little bit of hand power and he can knock guys down, but he doesn't understand the game completely. He doesn't understand setups or when he's getting set up himself. Thompson has a very firm understanding of that. And to get to his legs, it's not easy, man. The guy is just a nightmare, I think, for wrestlers. That distance that he imposes the whole freaking time, amazing.
Chuck, how do you handicap this co-main event? Gilbert Burns, plus 125. He's the underdog. Despite having the higher ranking, he gets the red corner. How do you handicap this fight?
I agree with Jorge 100%. I think that his best chance of getting it done is early, because if evidence has told us anything, is that Wonderboy Thompson never gets blown out, right? Like, with maybe the outlier being obviously that Pettis fight where he was caught in that, but he doesn't get blown out. And he kind of forces you very subtly to fight his fight. I know Masvidal knows a lot about this, because you'll see his offense incorporated retreating is part of his offense. He weaponizes his retreat. It's kind of it's a very difficult type of thing when he's blading and he's throwing those kicks and everything. I think the longer the fight goes on, the more that the other, Burns might have to ratchet up his pressure and want to come back in this fight. But that's kind of playing right into Wonder Boy's what he wants to do because he's so good at countering. So I see this being early for Burns if he can get it done, but the later it goes, I see it for Thompson.
All right, it sounds like the iconic Jorge Masvidal is picking Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but he is not contractually obligated to make a selection today. You are. Yep. So, Chuck, who's the pick to click in the co-main event?
So I'm definitely going to go Wonderboy Thompson. I think this is actually a great fight for him. He's also, was he 38 years old? He's right around 38 years old. I think he's at the last moment, right, where he's really going for his title run. He stays out of harm's way. He knows how to keep guys at distance, as he was mentioned. I just think that he's going to outpoint him. He's okay outpointing him. You know what I mean? I think, and that's some people don't like that type of fight, but it's masterful stuff that he does in there. And I think that that's how he's going to get it done, a decision.
I saw you lean in. You got a final thought on Burns Masvidal, or excuse me, Burns Thompson? Are you good?
Yeah, I'd like to fight any of those winners.
I know.
Oh yeah,
I'd definitely like to fight the winner. Final thoughts. If Gilbert, I think, gets overcommitted, I think I can see Thompson with a stoppage, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see how it plays out. And, of course, DraftKings Sportsbook has all of the propositions that you're looking for, if indeed that is your cup of tea. All right, Johnny Avello, I want to get to you on one final topic today before we put a bow on things. Sugar Sean O'Malley was to face Louis Smolka on pay-per-view this Saturday night. Louis Smolka has been infected by staph. So in steps the New Englander Chris Motino on short notice to make his UFC debut. He's won 2 in a row on the regional scene in New England. Not a lot of film on this guy. So for you as the bookmaker, how do you even go about setting a price when you have a guy in Sean O'Malley who's on the cusp of bantamweight title contention taking on the far lesser known Chris Motino?
Yeah, he's fought some soft competition, so I had 2 darts, John. One of the darts was minus 835, and the other one was minus 1100. So I threw the one and landed 835. That's the price we landed on. I don't think anybody wants to lay 835, but it sure looks like an easy price for easy money, doesn't it?
So, yeah, I mean, if you don't know, $835 on a straight wager on Sean O'Malley returns you $100. So risk-reward, not a great situation there. What are your thoughts, Chuck, on O'Malley and Motino here in a few days?
If there's a moment of hesitation to take that type of bet, it would obviously be the durability, right, of O'Malley, because we've seen him hurt to the point where on one fight he was able to finish it. He does his post-fight interview on the ground, but he's hurt. And the next one against Chito Vera, he couldn't continue, and it hurt him, and he loses the fight. The durability thing is what always makes you a little bit hesitant on that sort of thing. But take that side of it away. I just think that O'Malley's at a place right now. I don't know a ton about his opponent. Like you said, it's not easy to him. But I think that O'Malley's at a place right now, especially off that last fight, getting his confidence back, everything. He looks really good to me. So I feel like that should be easy money.
Jorge, Sean O'Malley feels like right now his mindset and his skill set are good enough to challenge for the Bantamweight Championship. I don't know where you fall on O'Malley and how high you think his ceiling is, but he's putting a lot on the line here, fighting a newcomer that could take a lot of what he has worked for away. What are your thoughts on what we might see this week?
Athletically, I think the kid is beyond gifted. His timing, his distance, reflexes, his technique, and the little bit of time that he's been in the sport and how he's put it together, I think he's phenomenal there. Like you say, though, durability and dogness in a fighter is like, man, everything, though, especially in longevity and especially in the UFC where, maybe you might fight a newcomer now, but then after that, you're going to be in the gauntlet. You're going to fight number 4, number 3, number 2, and you have to be durable. But I don't think he's going to have to be too durable against this guy. I think, I don't know anything about the other guy.
Yeah.
I'm guessing O'Malley walks over him.
You're right, though. You're right, though, in terms of O'Malley's durability. It's been called into question, and obviously there are a lot of examples of it failing him in the past. And Motino is a dog, right? If you're looking for the dog, I mean, he is a dog, but he is a decided underdog.
And me usually, because I don't believe that nobody's in a fight, that nobody's 10-1 over a guy or something like that. Right. So I usually will bet on the underdog for these, even if it's like $100 I'm throwing away. Just,
Yeah.
Why not?
All right, good stuff. Well, McGregor versus Poirier 3, of course, is coming up this weekend, and we want to get you in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. And how about this knockout offer for this weekend? 264 to 1 odds on a knockout in the first round during Saturday's main event. If this rubber match ends in a first round knockout, one way or the other, and you're on the right side, your $1 bet will pay you $264. You get the same odds if you back Dustin Poirier or Conor McGregor, but the rub, of course, is you got to get that right. You also have to be a new customer on DraftKings Sportsbook. I can assure you, though, DraftKings safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. And, of course, if mixed martial arts betting is not for you, why? But of course, we have other options as well. Great odds and promotions on basketball, hockey, baseball, and so much more. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code VEGAS when you sign up to turn $1 into $264 when you bet on a main event fighter to win by first-round knockout. Place your bet and watch the fist fly this weekend. That's code VEGAS to turn $1 into $264 large, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, thank you all for indulging us for this UFC 264 betting preview presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. For Chuck Mindenhall, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, and Johnny Avello, John Anik saying so long for now. We'll see you next month in advance of UFC 265.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience presented by DraftKings 2021 Fantasy Football Rankings. Top 150 overall half-point PPR. You want to find the rankings in list form, chronological list form too, like 1 through 150. You go to DraftKingsPlaybook.com or hit the description where the rankings will be updated every single week with breaking news or a change of opinion. That's just how we're going to do this. Remember to smash the like button for the video. In the comment section, give me your top 5 players overall in half-point PPR entering the 2021 fantasy football season, and subscribe to Mayo Media Network. Why wouldn't you subscribe to Mayo Media Network at this point? Because we're going to have a ton of fantasy football content, including a brand new fantasy football show, which will be launching very soon. And one of you might end up being the host of that, or at least a host of a few of the days, because I'm doing a huge contest to find the next fantasy football host out there in the world. I don't care how much experience you have. If you hit the description of this video, you'll see a link to my Twitter profile, and the pinned tweet that's up there right now shows you how you can enter that contest. It's a paid gig. You're going to get plenty of exposure, and if you've ever wanted to get into the fantasy football realm, talking about it on camera, this is the opportunity you've been waiting for. So submissions are due July 10th. So if you want to get in, you got to submit yours before that. And then, yeah, if you submit them on like the 11th, I hate to tell you, then you're probably not going to get it because I'm not going to look after the 10th. Other than that, there is the biggest news possible. Everyone knows that I've been associated and helped co-found FantasyNational.com, which is a tools and stats golf site, which people have won millions and millions of dollars from by becoming a member. It's a customizable stat site. There's no content. I had so much success with that, I wanted to make that translate over into the NFL. And as of today, I want you all to go to runthesims.com because a brand new tools and content product is up there right now. So you can go ahead and pre-order your package by the end of July, and you'll get our Founders Club pricing. It'll never be this low again. $249 for the year, but if you use code MAYO, you get $50 off. So it's $199, well, $199 for the entire NFL year by using code MAYO. And the best part is that you'll lock in that annual rate for life. So if you get it right now, when the price goes up to like $400 next year, because it's so popular and so amazing and so easy to use, you're going to lock in that $199 for life. So again, code MAYO at runthesims.com. So just hustle up and go get it. We have some unbelievable tools for you up there right now. It's going to cover season-long, daily fantasy, and the betting market. And the best part is that there's no one on the site telling you, oh, you need to play this guy. You need to play this guy. It's all going to be projections and simulations that spit out, and you can personally go adjust those. You don't agree with the projections that are up there? There are easy slots where you can be like, no, I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a 64% completion percentage. I think that he's going to have a 69% completion percentage, if he stays with the Packers, mind you. And then that will trickle effect into every other Green Bay Packer on the team, and you can adjust run rates for teams, pass rates for teams, touchdown rates for teams, and actually optimize the projections to how you actually want them. Again, it's not me up there telling you to play this this guy or this guy. It's a set of tools that you can customize so easily and have all of the numbers at your disposal as you want. And it's so easy to use. There's going to be an optimizer for daily fantasy, and you can go check this all out right now for free at runthesims.com. Now, that offer ends at the end of July, but the site will remain free for the end of the month. You just go in, sign up, and you can go check it out and see if you actually like it. I promise you, once you see how customizable and easy to use all of the tools are, and again, whether you're playing season long, you're playing best ball, you're waiting for daily fantasy, you want to make some bets on NFL futures, you just love props in season, it's going to be the perfect product for you. So go to runthesims.com right now. It is live, and a lot of my rankings are off those projections as well, at least my customizable projections, and use code MAYO. You get that founder's discount if you do it by the end of July. Jake Seeley from theathletic.com is on the line. Jake, I have made my rankings for each position. Shows that I'll go into, at a later date, but I wanted to get through the top 150 with you. So you're going to help me build my rankings. How do you feel?
I feel good. Hey, my projections and rankings have been a thing for years, so it's about fixing yours.
Well, I mean, listen, you don't even need to fix mine. You can go on. I mean, listen, you've been using Run the Sims. It's pretty easy, right?
I will say it's a terrific site. It's a lot of fun to play around with that and see how things move. But it was more for the fact of just what does this do? Like you mentioned, like the completion percentage, the touchdown percent, like all that type of stuff. Just seeing how it does it on the site, where I had to do that all manually, and now I can just do it on your site for a lot of fun.
Yeah, like once you have your profile, you can save everything to it. So, like I said, if you think that all of a sudden, like we have the Bengals, for example, to pass an awful lot this year. If you think that they're going to be a little bit better, the defense is going to be a little bit better, and they run a little bit more, that would help Joe Mixon's projection, mind you. But it would just take away. You can be like, no, I don't think they pass at a 61% clip. I think they pass at a 55% clip. You just go type in 55 where 61 is, and boom, brand new projections instantaneously. The biggest thing is going to be, though, when the games actually start to occur, you're going to have the ability to customize your run rates and everything like that, and then simulate the games up to 10,000 times to see what your median projections, or if you want ceiling projections. Because that's Justin Freeman is the co-founder of the site with me. He is the Showdown master. He's won like millions playing Showdown, and that's how he does it. Like he just runs these simulations. When you play in giant GPPs, you want to take some of these ceiling performances from guys, and that's how you go about both differentiating your team and shooting for the highest upside. And I think some of that can be applied to season long too, because as you always know, listen, I'm not in the business of trying to win my fantasy league every year. I think that if you are, I mean, listen, I would love to, mind you, and that my rankings are going to reflect that, but I think you're diluting yourself if you think that you're going to win your fantasy football league every single year. If you play in a league that you do win every single year, you better league is all I'm going to tell you right now. It should be more competitive than that. Like if you can win once out of 3 years in your fantasy football league, you're doing fantastic. That is such a high rate of winning. And that's what my rankings are really geared towards. What is going to be your highest upside lineup? Does that mean you're going to flame out and burn like half the years? Yes, absolutely. That's the way I like to play it, Jake.
That's certainly, that goes into your rankings. We talk about it all the time. We've talked about it on a couple of your shows already. You want first place or nothing, and that's how you should play. And I don't disagree with that at all. I thought you said Seeley rankings at first. I was like, yeah, that's what we're doing, Seeley rankings. But I'm a little bit more conservative than you are because I want to basically finish top 3 every single week, as in like the points scored. So like I'm one of the 3 or 4 best teams any given week. So by the end of the season, I should be the first place team, but to like go boom or complete bust, I think that comes down to just like your taste. And like you said, that's why it goes down to your adjusting the projections yourself as well. Like you mentioned the Bengals, like, well, okay, boom would be like, hey, I think they're going to pass 68% of the time. And I'm just going to ride that to the death. And, that's why it's fun to go through these things.
Well, let's get to the rankings then. Number 1,
yeah, let's do it.
Through 10, half point PPR rankings. No big shocker. I'm going to have Christian McCaffrey number 1 overall. I'm going to have Dalvin Cook number 2 overall. And then I think that it's a real thing where you can start making arguments all the way down the board. So my tentative running back rankings right now go McCaffrey, Cook, Derrick Henry, Zeke, Saquon Barkley. That is my top 5.
You almost had the exact same top. I chuckled when you said Derrick Henry at number 3. I've already made the case that I would never do it for Christian McCaffrey's use last year. We've talked about it on your show. That one game was 97% of the time he was on the field. I'm still taking Christian McCaffrey, but you could make the case that the safest is Derrick Henry at number 1. But I wouldn't do it. I have McCaffrey, Cook, Henry. I just flip Kamara and Zeke. I have Zeke at 6. I have Kamara at 4, Barkley at 5. So I'm just a little bit different than you.
All right, so the rest of my top 10 in terms of running back rankings are Kamara at number 6, Cam Akers, number 7, Eckler, Najee Harris, and Jonathan Taylor. I felt you and I did not get to discuss Jonathan Taylor. That was Mike Leone and I. If you missed any of the division preview shows, hit the description. They're down there right now. I just worry about his overall upside because, and people laugh at me when I say it, but I think that Marlon Mack comes back and steals a few carries a game. And they'll end up, go ahead. You can laugh at me all you want. I think that's a real possibility if he's okay coming off of the Achilles that you can run. Listen, if he's active and listen, if they leave him off the roster or he's not playing in the preseason, I can adjust my rankings. It's July. These aren't set in stone. But if I'm drafting today, I do have a bit of concern that he doesn't have the potential to be the number 1 running back. And I feel like, I mean, you can make a case with, you can make a very logical case with Eckler that he won't be either. But if all of a sudden he can score like 12 touchdowns this year, yeah, he could be based on his receiving volume.
Yeah, what it really goes down to is I was chuckling because I don't expect him to possibly be on the roster. We're coming back from career-ending injury. This, like, nobody, I don't say nobody, but like 90% of the people don't come back from this injury. And I say even come back, it's like they come back and play, but they end up not making rosters. They end up being a shell of their former selves. So that now, if he does stay on the team, I really don't think he's getting that many touches per week. We talked about it on another show. It wasn't that division because I know you and I already had this conversation because I saw the same comment where people were like, "You're so stupid. He's coming off Achilles, you dummy." But at the same time, when we talked about it, I just think it's a talent disparity. I think Jonathan Taylor is worlds better than Marlon Mack. And I do have Marlon Mack for 63 carries. I have him for 10 receptions, but that's it. That's not even 100 touches over the season. I don't think he's involved enough to downplay Jonathan Taylor. And for my projections, I still have Jonathan Taylor for 268 carries and 35 receptions. So he's over 300 touches. I have him for 12 combined touchdowns. And that alone, where I'll agree with you, doesn't get him to number 1. I think the biggest factor of why we have Taylor a little further down is because he doesn't finish number 1, because even if Mack is out of the picture, even if he's not on the roster, Nyheim Hines is not going to go away. He's still going to get 40, 50 receptions of his own.
And we have to live with the possibility that Carson Wentz is just the Carson Wentz that we saw each of the last 2 years.
For the Eagles.
And just isn't all that good.
Yeah, certainly. I think Carson Wentz is a great bounce back candidate, but he's a candidate. He's not a guarantee. And even if you go back to the season that everybody thought he was going to come off of, and everybody's like, look at how good he's going to be one of the next top 5 quarterbacks. That season was pretty darn good, but it wasn't like he was coming off 35 touchdowns and 4,800 yards. He was trending up. He was looking pretty dang good. He's had questionable talent with him at the Eagles for most of his career, especially the offensive line, which was down to the 3rd string last year. We can make all the apologies, but he's, to your point, is far from a guarantee of being a bounce back, like a guaranteed bounce back.
And the way that I look at it with the tiers that I'm thinking about at running back, like Najee Harris is probably on his tier. I have him at number 9. Maybe that's, overshooting the mark just a little bit. But when I'm drafting my running backs, especially my workhorse running back in rounds 1 or 2, I want someone who could potentially be playing over 80% of the snaps, getting 80% of the carries, all the goal line work, and still do enough in the receiving game to make them viable. Derrick Henry is really the only outlier to that because we know that he's not going to do anything really in the receiving game, but he does so much on the ground and so much in terms of scoring that it really doesn't matter.
Could you imagine if he got 40 receptions in a year?
He'd be the best. He would be the best running back.
I still, is it just me, or does it feel like it's very few times that he actually gets this opportunity, but every time they throw it to him in the flats, it's like a 70-yard gain.
I think that just sticks out in our minds because it happens like once every 8 weeks that they finally call the play, and the defense is just like, whoa. I can't believe this is happening. We have no defense for this because you really bucked your tendencies on this one because you never run this play. I just think that he's so safe. But what you had said before, like with Derrick Henry, could you imagine him taking him over Christian McCaffrey? I couldn't, because the only reason McCaffrey's not the number 1 running back is if he gets hurt, and anyone can get hurt.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's also coming off injury. We're assuming he's 100%. But we've seen running backs, like, let's go to the Barkley situation. We've already heard from Giants beat reporters, and whether or not it's true, we have time to find out. But we've heard from the Giants that Barkley might not get his 100% share, which obviously isn't 100% of the snaps, but not get his 100% share until weeks 3 or 4. Christian McCaffrey could be the same thing. So does that knock him out from number 1? No, because now we also go back to the argument that even if he was out for the first 3 weeks, it's the argument you and I had years ago where we both agreed when we were on an island. I remember at the time, and I will victory lap this because you should too. We were on an island talking about Le'Veon Bell's suspension that year and saying, no, he's still a first rounder because you take him in the first round, you get a replacement guy for 4 weeks, and you combine the two, and that's still a top 5 player. And that's what happened that year. That's the same thing with Christian McCaffrey. So, yeah, I'm still taking McCaffrey every single time. I was just saying, if you were scared he wasn't 100% and you're drafting right now, I could see it. But again, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend Henry at number 1.
Are you good with Barkley at number 5 and Zeke at number 4? This just feels like the ultimate. People are still talking up like, man, Tony Pollard's so good. Tony Pollard might be good, but you have to imagine for this year specifically, like these aren't dynasty rankings. These aren't keeper rankings. These are for 2021 that Zeke is going to eat with Dak back. And is Dak going to be 100%? Probably. Who's like really the last guy that came off one of these injuries that wasn't 100% coming back? Like medical technology is through the roof at this point.
It definitely is. And I keep saying this. I'm going to roster a ton of Ezekiel Elliott this year because people are letting him slip out of the first round because I don't know why. Because the Tony Pollard thing. And look at what happened. How many times have we said it on the show alone? First of all, Zeke was a top 3 running back before Dak got hurt. And then after that point, he was still top, I think he was 18, 17 or something like that. And wasn't healthy for much of the rest of the season. And the 2 weeks, go back and look, the 2 weeks he was off the injury report come Friday, were the 2 weeks he ran for 100 yards with crap quarterback play. He was banged up a lot. He had no Dak Prescott, and he still was able to get 100. And he still had a decent season for what he was dealing with at quarterback and with how that team went. So I would still go Barkley, but I don't mind Zeke there. Again, because I'm on the Zeke bandwagon 100%.
The only thing the injury might lead me to believe with the Cowboys that maybe Dak stops calling his numbers so much around the goal line and hands it off to Zeke, and maybe you see a spike in you see a spike in touchdowns for him this year.
Yeah, I could. I'm looking. I was trying to find where I got Zeke for touchdowns. I got Zeke for 10 rushing touchdowns, and that even feels conservative.
I mean, even at that though, he still rates out to being a top 5 running back, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, for mine, no, he's 6 at mine. That's because I have Kamara higher than you do. I have Kamara still right in front of Barkley.
Yeah, I have Kamara at 6, and I think that I just don't feel great about him going into the year as an elite running back. I think he is the best of the next tier down behind those guys. Because like even when I think about the rushing share on this team, like we have him projected out at 45% right now, and that means Taysom Hill is going to get his rushes, Latavius is going to get his rushes, and maybe that is too conservative. But I don't know how this offense is exactly going to look. That if they do play Taysom Hill a lot of the time, and it's not when we spoke about the NFC South, that if Jameis is the primary quarterback of this team and he takes 95% of the quarterback snaps, then maybe I'm probably too low at number 6 at running back on Alvin Kamara, but I think that's enough to ding him, that unknown part of it. Like, that's all you have to do with the top end here. Like, I've been trying to make a case against Jonathan Taylor, who I have at number 10. I have him at number 10 at running back. I think he's going to be awesome. But when you get to this very high level, you need to nitpick somewhere who has the fewest amount of drawbacks to them. And at least in my crazy mind, I do see a potential downside to Kamara that maybe hasn't been there in other years. Like, you make Drew Brees the quarterback of this team, even decrepit Drew Brees at this point, he's like number 2 or number 3.
I think the good thing here is, everything you said isn't wrong. And we talked about it on that show, and we're hoping for Jameis Winston. The downside on the floor, which we don't know yet, is how much Taysom Hill will be involved. And that's the risk. If you want to bypass Alvin Kamara, now granted it was a super flex. I even tweeted about it. I put you on the tweet because I got Travis Kelce at the turn. It was a super flex, but my picks were Kelce and Kamara. Kamara fell all the way to the 12th pick in the first round. There was only 5 quarterbacks gone at that point. So you have the 5 quarterbacks, you have the big 4 running backs, 5, depending on how you're talking here. And then Tyreek Hill went, and Kamara was sitting there. I think a lot of people are concerned. They say the same as you with the Kamara situation. And I'm looking at my projections in the receiving department. What it comes down to is maybe the 77 receptions, because he basically gets that almost every single year, is a little aggressive. Because, maybe Winston, we know Winston doesn't throw to running backs as much as Breeze does. Breeze is one of the top 3 before he retired. So maybe that's a little bit of aggressive, but it's more of the target shares. Like the target share is still really high for me because they don't have a clear number 2. We're assuming it's Traquan Smith. That's not a guarantee. We talked about on that show. Is Troutman really going to step forward as much as I like him? It's still a big question. It's a second-year tight end. Marquez Callaway, Deontay Harris, Lil Jordan Humphrey. I think the benefit here is that where the target's going to go. It's going to be Thomas and Kamara.
I agree with you. Like in the projections that we see right now, I have him projected as the highest target share in terms of running backs with 123 targets, which feels like a lot of targets for him. But now it's it's 17 games now too. When we think about it, I only have 3 for over 100 though. It's Kamara, it's McCaffrey, and it's Eckler. I have Barkley at number 4, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I have Barkley 4 too. And what do you have him for targets for Barkley?
For Barkley, I have him at 92 targets.
92 targets. Wow, you're outpacing me. I have him for 77.
I think that's just a product of how this team works. Like when you talk about like the beat reporters, I don't believe word beat reporters say, because according to beat reporters, everyone on the Jets is awesome this year. It's like, okay.
Well, that's because the people who write for the Jets are like Tim's friends or something. I don't get it. Like this team, if you only read the beat reporters, have like won 5 Super Bowls in a row at this point.
Yes. I mean, I'm actually shocked they haven't won 5 Super Bowls based on the way that they're reported about. Everyone.
Speaking of which,
go ahead.
Can you see it?
You got a Jets mini helmet?
Well, no, it's a mini helmet because this weekend there's a signing in DC and Michael Carter's going to be there. So I'm getting a Michael Carter signed mini helmet.
Is it weird going to an autograph signing to get an autograph of someone half your age?
No, because I'm not going.
Oh.
It's a buddy of mine, and I'm sending the 2 helmets with him and giving him like $25 in gas money.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you send someone else to go collect your weird
I just realized you can't even see my shirt. What the hell? Like it's Scrooge McDuck as in the Nirvana cover, and you can't even see it. All you can see is bad shirt choice.
Do you own any colored shirts by chance?
Yeah, I do. Oh. I just only wear them on dates, and since I don't get any of those, they've been hanging in my closet for a long time.
So listen, you need to wear them on the show. Get yourself out there. Get your colored game experience up just a little bit.
Nah, I have a t-shirt game because that's all I have going on.
Okay. Rest of the rankings. I guess we should talk about Cam Akers for a second, who I have at running back number 7. I think that what everyone wants to mine from Jonathan Taylor this year, Cam Akers is actually that guy with the upside if everything breaks right for him. I think we can talk about the downside of Cam Akers when it comes down to it, but if we're thinking about someone who could crack, like I got him projected at a 64% rushing share of this team, he could crack 70, especially if Stafford doesn't run at all. If he's the goal line back and he is involved in the receiving game, a little bit to what we saw towards the end of the year last year. It wasn't a ton, but a lot of people are projecting receptions onto Jonathan Taylor that came from Phillip Rivers. Like, no matter how many times Carson Wentz throws to his running backs, it's not going to be as much as Phillip Rivers did.
Certainly, Phillip Rivers was the high. It was second in, I think it was complete percentage, and then running. I forget. It was second and first. There's different running back stats in that facet. So, of course, with the Cam Akers, I'm looking right now, and you give him 2. I have him for 9 rushing touchdowns. You give him 2 more, and that bumps him all the way up to right behind Saquon Barkley on Ezekiel Elliott's heels right there. So that's how slim that margin could be, where we could be talking about Cam Akers as a top 5 running back, certainly, especially with Stafford at quarterback now.
I think my ranking reflects that. It's a little bit, at running back number 7, he's going to end up being a first-round pick once we insert these wide receivers and Travis Kelce into the first-round mix here. But do you think that Najee Harris deserves to be a top 10 running back?
Not top 10. We talked about it on that show, and I love Najee Harris. You know that. We've been talking about this.
It doesn't sound like you love him as much as me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It doesn't sound like I don't have him inside my top 5. I hate the guy. But it really comes down to, we've talked about the offensive line and how people overrate that when we're talking about run blocking. You could have, we have every single year, we have 1 or 2 running backs finish as RB1s on bottom 10 run blocking offensive lines. And we have the verse side is like the top 10 offensive lines don't produce it because they share too much. We want volume in fantasy. We want it. Najee Harris is going to get it. The concern here is it going to be as much as it used to be with the Steelers like 3, 4, 5 years ago, especially with Le'Veon Bell? Probably not. And mostly because they have 3 great wide receivers. They are passing a little bit more. I don't know if everybody's seen the numbers out there, but how much better Juju and Ben both are with play action, which Najee Harris is going to help. But I say all that to say, I still only have Najee Harris for about 40 receptions. And that alone, when you're still not at 50, 60 and stuff like that, it's just going to keep you on that tier right below. Najee Harris is in the same group with the Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers. He's in that group for me.
Okay, I think the Cam Akers is above that group, but I see where you're coming from. I think it really depends on how you think that the carries are allocated in the Steelers offense. I just don't think that you go up and get a running back to say, you know what, you're also splitting time with Kalen Ballage and Anthony McFarland and Benny Snell. Like our rushing projection for him, like the baseline is going to be like 52%, I think that it is, from runthesims.com. I manually adjusted that up to 70% just to see what it would spit out. And all of a sudden he's a fringe top 10 guy. And I think that talent-wise that he can really get behind that as well. Because when you talk about like bad run blocking offensive lines, I think that is a narrative that's a bit too played up, only because, listen, we're bad at projecting football as it is anyway. People make mistakes all the time. When it comes to talent evaluation, how players are going to perform on a team, the timeshares that they're going to see on the field, but now everyone's offensive line expert and how that can change year to year. It's like when people go into fantasy drafts and be like, well, they were the number 1 fantasy defense last year. Obviously the number 1 fantasy defense again this year. Like, defense doesn't work that way. And although you can see good cohesion on an offensive line, and the best ones tend to stay really good until the moment that they're not, bad ones with a new piece and some health can get good really quickly.
Big, absolutely, no question about it. And go back to last year's, a couple sites rated in, just going to go to the usage standpoint is, my feelings. We've talked about David Montgomery. David Montgomery, I think, is above average running back. I don't think he deserves to be in this talent conversation. And last year, the Bears on many sites were rated as a bottom 10 run blocking offensive line. And you look at David Montgomery, the volume, he was inside the top 10. So look at that factor right there. Yes, you could tie break. If you want to say, I like this offensive line 10 times better than this offensive line, and you're saying, all right, do I take Nick Chubb or Najee Harris? And because I trust the Browns offense and I trust the offensive line, that's going to be my tiebreaker, and that's fine. But if you said, I'm not putting Najee Harris inside the top 20 because the offensive line is trash, that's just, you're overthinking it.
Yeah, I think so too. And trying to embrace some of the stuff that we don't know for positive variance is something that I want to do in this spot. So if you have a bad offensive line, and let's say it marginally improves, and it's like the 20th best instead of 31st best in the league. So obviously that's going to help you a little bit. This team is going to be pretty pass happy, but that didn't really work out for them too well towards the end of the season, that maybe they do take a lean on the running game a little bit more. We do project their defense to be pretty good. That Najee Harris is in a really particular spot right now. And I do have him in that group that you talked about, along with Chubb and Aaron Jones and Jonathan Taylor. Like, he's a part of that grouping to me. And I think the Cam Akers is one above him, where if things really break poorly for him, he's running back 18. If things break really right for him, he's like running back 5. So I think at number 9, it might be an over projection and over ranking, but I'm good with going down with that shit. Maybe I'll move him back. Like, would you take Nick Chubb or would you take Najee Harris in a draft?
I would take Nick Chubb barely. And I was looking right as you were talking about that too. I have Najee Harris for the 10th most rushing attempts in the league this year. So there's the usage right there. But I just have Nick Chubb edging him out by a slim margin. It also comes down to the rushing touchdowns. You could talk about that being the offensive line, despite the fact I believe in Najee Harris. That's an area where you could say they could struggle a little bit, similar to Nick Chubb did back when Nick Chubb was having the issues of 3 straight rushes and not getting in the end zone. So, that could be a factor with the Steelers. But if you want to take Najee Harris over Nick Chubb, I actually wouldn't mind at all. But I would take Nick Chubb. He's one spot in front of Najee Harris for me. Joe Mixon's one spot in front of Chubb. It's Mixon, Chubb, Harris for me, just so you know.
Okay, so that's interesting. Where's Aaron Jones fall in that for you?
Right in front of all of them. He was the one. He's in between that group right before and then this group that we're talking about now.
Do you have, when you're drafting right now, and obviously this should be settled by the time the end of August comes around and people are actually doing their drafts, but how much of the Aaron Rodgers factor are you playing into Aaron Jones right now? Like, does it hurt him or help him if Aaron Rodgers isn't there?
Oh, it absolutely hurts him if he's not there, but I'm factoring at 0. I think at this point, First of all, I've been on I think Aaron Rodgers is staying in Green Bay situation the entire time. I could absolutely be wrong, but at this point, I don't see where the move is left. Unless he just sits out football, I don't see where we're going from here. Packers don't want to trade him. The Packers have passed the point of getting the best potential trade value by not doing it during the draft and getting picks on top of it. And maybe it's next year's picks, and some of the packages being thrown out there are just such an absurdity from the other side of the team. And I understand he commands that in a real NFL situation, but I think a lot of teams at this point don't want to give that up. Like if anybody's ever seen the Broncos one when they're talking about Nick Chubb, they just drafted Patrick Surtain and they want to include him along with 3 first-rounders like this. The Broncos, as much as that would make a ton of sense to have Aaron Rodgers on that team, you're still asking, like, that's insane for a quarterback at his point of his career. I know he's an exceptional quarterback, but I'm going forward as Aaron Rodgers is playing for the Packers. If it bites me in the ass, that's fine. But similar to your point, because you're also getting a value on Adams and Jones right now, if Aaron Rodgers is back, you're getting 100% upside. You're going for first by getting Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones in the second round, mid to second round, because if they play, they should be first rounders.
Well, back once again to how I construct my rankings versus some other people. Some people will just do their projections, and those are the rankings. I try to think about how I want to draft a little bit in with it. So I have Aaron Jones behind Nick Chubb. So he'd be at number 12 at running back. And that's solely because I think that, not that I like A.J. Dillon or think that he's going to be particularly valuable as a standalone. I just think that that's where I want to go in the Packers backfield because the price is far more reasonable. He's going in like the 9th, 10th round, something like that. And if anything happens to Aaron Jones, all of a sudden you have a lockdown on that backfield regardless of what happens. So if you don't have Rodgers, let's say he does sit out, which I do think is on the table. He seems like the perfect type of guy just to say, you know what, screw it. I got a ton of money. I don't care. I'm going to sit out until you want to trade me. Have at it. I can see him doing that. I'll go host Jeopardy and play in celebrity golf tournaments. Not a big deal for me. And then Aaron Jones and his overall value is diminished anyway if he's not there. Plus, there is consistency issues with Aaron Jones, not necessarily on the overall scope of the season, but week to week, you can see some ups and see some downs. And then if he ended up getting hurt, all of a sudden, A.J. Dillon's like the last man standing back there, that he would be in a fantastic position. I think that's how I would want to attack the Packers backfield and just hope that that happens. If it comes down to A.J. Dillon, I never have to play him all year long. Well, then I made a bad pick, but it didn't cost me much, where at the very top of the board, I can make some different decisions with guys that I like better.
Yeah, and you could honestly go the route of getting Aaron Jones and then arguing that Dillon is one of the top 5 handcuffs right now, because I agree with you. I think A.J. Dillon, I said in the draft, for people that don't know, I was saying A.J. Dillon's kind of a lesser version of Derrick Henry. 80%, 85% Derrick Henry, that's kind of like how you have to think about A.J. Dillon. Is he's going to bowl people over. He's not going to be a huge factor in the passing game, but that's, he's stepping into Jamal Williams' role.
What's up, DK Sim fam? Welcome back into the DraftKings Dream Stream. This channel where all the magic happens, where the Madden Sims get played daily, the announcers announce. I don't have anything else. Anyway, joining me is Tom.
I was like, where are you going with this?
I don't know. I thought I had something there, but I really just didn't. So, anyways, we've got the Atlanta Falcons and the Buffalo Bills, folks. Sorry for that horrid intro. But
you want to restart? We can restart.
No, I don't want to restart. Man.
Okay.
Come on. We can't restart the Sims. You know that.
We can restart if you want.
No, we can't do that. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Happy Friday.
Yes.
Love Madden After Dark on a Friday.
Friday.
It's, in the heart of summer here. It's hot.
It is hot.
Northeast dealing with a little bit of a tropical storm today. Kind of unnatural for that part of the country. So hope everyone's homes are okay for those in that region. I know there were some hurricanes in Florida and that part of the country earlier this week. Hope everyone's doing all right. Got your power. Everything's safe. Everyone healthy. So, yeah, man. Let's talk football. Let's talk Falcons Bills. These are two teams I'm actually very interested in heading into next season.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, in what way are you interested in the Falcons? Just because you want to see Kyle Pitts, or you just think?
Yeah. I mean, I want to see them sans Julio and what Kyle Pitts looks like. I'm just fascinated to see if that offense can actually win ball games next year, because they have real talent. We know they have talent. Yeah. And even without Julio, we know Ridley's a beast. And Pitts is coming in with a ton of hype, man. I mean, dudes are talking about Kyle Pitts like he's going to make the Hall of Fame. So I'm excited to see if he can live up to the hype in year one. I know tight ends generally disappoint, just in general. But it seems like he's profiling as a guy that's going to be just a different breed out there.
Yeah, he is. I mean, it is kind of like the same old story. Oh, we got another elite tight end, but I mean, I don't remember last time a tight end was picked 4th overall either. So clearly this guy, there is something a little bit different about Kyle Pitts. I still don't know exactly where I stand with him. There's just so many targets that Julio Jones left open, though. And you're right. I think it is kind of going to make Atlanta an interesting team to watch, more from a fantasy perspective, I guess, because I still don't think they're going to be that good. But, you know, from an individual performance perspective, seeing how Kyle Pitts does, can he break this kind of first-round tight end curse? Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think they'll be kind of an interesting team. And the Bills are just good, right? So we'll see if they can take a jump or if they're going to regress, and see what Josh Allen does. He's obviously exciting to watch. So,
yeah, I'm interested to see how the Bills look next year. Must be not excited for his Falcons. He says, Tom, my Falcons stink.
My Falcons. Wow, okay.
That's tough. I'm excited to see what at least Kyle Pitts looks like. You guys might only win 8 games, maybe less, probably less. But at the very least, that's an intriguing dude to follow.
And for Falcons fans like must be, I mean, you'll remember back to Tony Gonzalez. I mean, him and Matt Ryan certainly had a good connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Had some big
Algie
years.
Crumpler.
Sure.
So, honestly, Hayden Hurst, not a bad tight end either.
Well, and I'm interested to see, like, can Hayden Hurst sustain some productivity? Because, I mean, I feel like Kyle Pitts is going to be used more as a wide receiver personally, but we'll see. We'll see about that.
It's going to be like the Jimmy Graham thing.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Even more so. I mean, yeah, Jimmy Graham is probably the best comparable. You know how the Saints used him back in the heyday, down the middle, like really running those go routes. There's Ridley off the top.
Joe Horn. How you doing, Freezer? What's up, Joe? Oh, see, his name's John Horn. Every time I see John Horn, I immediately see a J in the word horn, and I think of Joe Horn.
Yeah.
Because
very underrated.
I love that all-time great cell phone celebration.
It was a good one. That's a good one. He's an underrated
John,
receiver.
What's going on, buddy? Happy Friday.
Well, plus you're on with a Saints legend every week, right? So
exactly.
Saints players on the minds all the time, right?
Fuzzy Dunlop saying Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, Andrews, Hawk. So I think he's saying those are the guys he would pick above Pitts.
Yeah.
In fantasy drafts.
I think that's a
how do you evaluate that list?
No.
Are you picking all those guys above Pitts?
I mean, the only guy I might not do is Mark Andrews. I think Hawkinson, though, could be in a very friendly role as well. Yeah, yes. And Fuzzy Dunlop makes a good point. TJ Hawkinson was kind of viewed almost in the same way as Pitts, although, but
I think it's different, honestly. I think Pitts is getting way more hype than Hawkinson. Hawkinson, everyone was talking about as being like the best tight end from that draft. Pitts is being talked about like he's going to be one of the best tight ends in the league from the jump.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Pitts is definitely, like I said, I mean, 4th overall. I think even if you just look at the comparables, he's got a little bit of an edge. But, yeah, I still would take Hawkinson over him just because, again, the rookie tight end thing. But, Matt, if there's any place Kyle Pitts is going to succeed, it's probably, like, right off the bat, it's probably, especially for fantasy, it's probably Atlanta. So, definitely got a very comfortable landing spot. What's up, guys? Obi-Wan! The high ground on that gun. Jordan Lindenbaum says Pitt's getting way overdrafted in redrafts. Could be, man. Like, honestly, I don't know. Tight end is just such it's so weak after the first 2 guys that I don't know. Like, it feels like everybody after Kittle or Kelsey and Waller's getting overdrafted,
I do think that Hawkinson is a guy that I'm going to try and steal later in my draft because of what we've talked about on these streams for a couple weeks here, a couple weeks plus, I should say. Who else are they going to throw the ball to?
Yeah, no, for sure.
They have to run plays to somebody,
Yeah. No, I know. You don't really want to go targeting the Detroit offense, but
right.
Like, someone's going to catch like at least 60 passes there, so it's probably not going to be Tyrell Williams because he doesn't.
Hawk Corleone thinks that Hawkinson will regress with Goff. There's a chance. I mean, it's definitely risky. You can't put all of your eggs in the Hawkinson basket. That's for sure.
I mean, look, Jared Goff sustained like a couple pretty good years for Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp.
Right, but now he doesn't have McVay. Maybe his confidence is shot because he got traded. I know that you're not a huge McVay guy, but Dan Campbell, Sean McVay, we just don't know who Dan Campbell is going to be as a head coach yet. I'm personally not fully out on Campbell. Everyone kind of just dismisses him because of his crazy press conference. I mean, he spent all that time with Sean Payton. You have to think something rubbed off on him, right? Something.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know in the chat. I think that's going to be an interesting conversation for a lot of people when they're taking tight ends, man. You going to take Pitts or are you going to take Hawkinson? I think I would lean Pitts. I honestly do. I think I would lean Pitts just because it's the Atlanta offense. It's Matt Ryan. We've seen him, make guys happen in the past. We've seen him transition from like Roddy White to Julio to Ridley. Now Pitts. I just feel more comfortable with it. I know it's a rookie tight end though, but I think I would still feel more comfortable with Kyle Pitts.
Well, if you're feeling like both of those guys are going to be like close from a talent standpoint, then you're just going QB view QB, right? And you just feel more comfortable with Matt Ryan over Jared Goff at this point, right?
Yeah, and just the whole Atlanta offense over.
By the way, I thought that was a touchdown.
I think they got the momentum thing. I think they killed his momentum, and then he kind of fell back after. I'm sure there's some people.
In real life, I think that gets a flag thrown. I think we see the red flag in real life on that. Gurley with the score in my lineup. What's up?
Yeah, we didn't even go over lineups today. I think I rostered Gurley as well. We'll have to check that out. But Todd Gurley with the little garbage cleanup there. Just comes in for a little quick hitter, and now he's going to run around like he did something on that drive, which he didn't. But
he put 7 on the board, baby. Well, 6 extra point coming.
That's right. Someone told me earlier today, it doesn't matter how you get them. It just matters how.
Exactly.
You get
they all count the same, Jeff.
Right. They all count the same.
I got Julio Jones in the captain spot along with Gurley, Hurst, Koo, Singletary, and Smith, as in Lee Smith from the Bills side.
Ooh, Lee Smith, hey. I also captain Julio. I think we both like to do that. I rostered the Falcons defense.
The Falcons.
So I'm all in on the Falcons special team. And I also got Todd Gurley. So I faded Ryan. Then I got Josh Allen and John Smokey Brown. So see how that works out. Probably won't work out very well. Hey, Jordan Warren talking about the UFC main event tomorrow night. That's a good segue because UFC 264 tomorrow night, guys. There is a free-to-play pool up there on the DraftKings Sportsbook. I believe it's 25K, but I'm going to verify. It is 25K free-to-play pool. Two of them. Sorry, excuse me. Let's start this over. There's two 25K free-to-play pools for the UFC 264. That's tomorrow night on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Like, seriously, guys, it's free money. Just go enter. You're already talking about the fights. It's going to be fun. You know, Conor McGregor posting stuff on social. He shouldn't be. And all this crazy stuff. So go check it out.
That's Conor McGregor for you. He knows how to drum up interest, we'll say, right?
Yeah.
He does the whole pro wrestling thing without actually doing pro wrestling. He's legit beating dudes up and getting himself punched in the face as well.
Yeah. Yep.
That's UFC. That's how that works. You get punched in the face. He gets punched in the face. Whoever gets punched in the face less wins.
Fuzzy Dunlop giving his picks. Should be a good main event, at the very least. Anyways, like I said, two 25K free-to-play pools over there. And there is another free-to-play pool for the home run derby on Monday night. So there's actually three free-to-play pools up on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Two of them for the UFC on Saturday, one of them for the home run derby. Check those out, guys. I will remind you again later in the show, but you know how my memory is. You might as well just go now because I don't know, man.
You may not get a reminder later, folks.
Yeah. You never know.
Back. I'll just do that in my living room throughout Monday night as I watch the home run derby.
Are you going to watch the home run derby?
Yeah, I'll probably have it on in the background while I'm doing some work. Back. It's not the same without him.
It's true. I haven't watched too much baseball this year yet, but you know, we're getting into that time of year where there's nothing else on. So
you got to hop on the Vlad bandwagon.
No, I know.
How happy are you that Montreal lost the cup?
How happy am I?
Yeah, I mean, as a non-Canadians fan living in Canada, I have to imagine you dislike Montreal. You probably dislike them and Toronto, correct?
Okay, so here's how it goes with Canadian teams. I'll give you the lowdown. So everybody hates Toronto outside of Toronto. That's just like a national thing. Like either you love the Leafs and you were from Ontario or something, or you despise them. Canadians, generally, they have fans everywhere. And I like the Canadians. They're a historic franchise. I don't have a problem with the Canadians. They're not too uppity about themselves. Their fans are like respectful of the game. And then you got the Western Canadian teams, and we all hate each other. So like Edmonton fans hate Vancouver and Calgary. Calgary fans, same. They hate Edmonton and Vancouver. So one of the only teams that I actually would cheer for outside of the Oilers from Canada is Montreal. So I was very happy to see them go long this year. It couldn't be the Oilers. I wanted it to be Montreal. So nice run for them. But yeah, they were.
Well, there you go. Here I am, a guy from Boston, thinking that I have some kinship with you in hating the Canadiens, and that's not the case. You don't hate Montreal.
You guys shouldn't hate the Canadians.
Why shouldn't I hate the Canadians?
Historic rivalry. Come on.
That's why I hate them. I cannot stand that team or that fan base.
Wow. So Josh Allen didn't even attempt to pass in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan was perfect, 66 yards. I haven't seen that in a while. QB didn't even attempt to pass. Interesting.
That's weird.
And we have a 4th and 5 coming up for Buffalo, so he's not going to attempt to pass for a while. Todd Gurley, 6 yards and a touchdown. Josh Allen, 10 yards rushing, though. So he's in the positive. That's good.
Where are you sitting at in the free roll? I know we're early, but it's kind of fun to check.
I'm in 7th.
Wow.
Yeah, I got that
I'm in 27th.
Got that Falcons D, man.
Okay. We're in there, man. We're cooking.
Yep. Hope everyone else is cooking, too, on a nice Friday night.
Speaking of cooking, what'd you have for dinner?
I haven't ate yet, if I'm being dead honest. I'm going to eat after this. I got a bit of a cold, Tom. So my
that's not fun.
No, I'm on the tail end of it, so I'm okay. But my appetite's gone. But I'm starting to get hungry now, so I'm one of those guys, I get sick. I just turn into a big baby, and I just can you bring me medicine?
Mama.
Yeah, pretty much, right? So
Bert saying he had pasta with a homemade vodka sauce. Wow. Vodka sauce, very underrated.
Just sounds
good.
good.
Vodka sauce.
Yeah, sauce with vodka in it.
I had steak.
Did you?
Steak and taters.
Good for you.
It's the summer, man.
Did you make it yourself, or did you like go out?
Yeah, throw steak on the old grill ski, fire it up.
Good for you. I don't eat a ton of red meat anymore, but steak I will still partake in.
Michael asking us a question on Slack that I don't know the answer to.
Oh.
Who was the last home run derby champion at Coors Field? I wish I knew the year. If I knew the year, I could give you a guess.
Daniel do it. He's like the Oracle. I have no idea. Maybe the chat knows. Who's the last home run derby winner?
No cheating. Jellyfish saying, Tom Carroll, why do you stream from your kitchen? It's because I get the best Wi-Fi from my kitchen. I also like the counter height. It's good for the microphone laptop situation I have. Michael saying it was 1998 was the year. So naturally, I want to guess Sammy Sosa or Mark McGuire.
98, hey, yeah. You would probably not be wrong with one of those guesses.
So he says it wasn't those two. So
okay. Who else was around there? Matt
Williams? Won the Derby 3 times. Wow. In 98. I'm just trying to think of guys that were good in the 90s.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, that's why I threw out Matt Williams, but I can't really think of anyone else off the top of my head.
What about
Canseco?
Yeah. Jake Williams throws out Larry Walker.
He wasn't a home run guy. He maybe did. I don't know.
Here's a wild. Maybe it's not that wild because he hit a million home runs. What about Griffey?
It could have been Griffey.
Shares the file. It was Griffey. Nice.
It was Griffey, eh?
Nice. That's just a pure was good in the 90s and hit a bajillion home runs guess.
Oh, for sure, yeah. We're just going by process of elimination there. Nice punt inside the 5.
Rossi's fat cat wants us to feed him. No. Bad cat. Sit down. You had dinner already. Down, boy.
Hope everyone's doing good. Tom, you see the new Marvel movie yet? You see a Scarlet Witch? You into those or no?
No, I did not. But I actually saw A Quiet Place 2 last night. Honestly, a little too slow.
A little too slow?
Yeah, too much suspense. If that makes sense. They went overboard on the suspense.
Yeah, that was kind of like
suspense that I was falling asleep.
Too much build and not enough suspense, eh?
Exactly.
Or too much suspense and not enough payoff. There goes Josh Allen for the run. Still
the first one, I think, had the perfect amount of suspense and action. This one, too much suspense.
Fair enough.
They tried to do too much.
A little too slow.
The first one was, I liked how small it was. You know, there wasn't as many characters.
Yes, it's true.
It's just, it was a fine movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad I saw it. But
well, I mean, it's one of those sequels that like it only got made because the first one made a ton of money. Like, that's
exactly.
the only reason it got made. So
we did not need A Quiet Place 2.
No, you really didn't. You really didn't. It's cool. There's good actors in it and stuff, but like I'll see it. I'm gonna watch it at some point.
I'm a big Krasinski fan.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, you know, for his first effort or whatever, director effort.
The first one was good, really good.
It was good. It was really good. It was solid. You know, some people, I think it got built up to be like something that it wasn't, but you know.
So it looks like Disney is projecting like a $90 million opening day for Black Widow.
Yeah, Black Widow. Oh yeah, I said Scarlet Witch.
Oof. That's people just wanting to get out of the house, not being able to go to the movies forever. Can you get it on Disney Plus right away?
Yeah, you can. That's where I'll be.
Okay, so that's gonna rack up a ton of dollars.
Let me know if people have seen that movie. You know, Black Widow. Yeah. Don't give me spoilers. Just tell me if you liked it or not.
Daniel saying it's going to be highest of the pandemic era.
Yeah, for sure it's going to be highest of the pandemic era. Oh, it's Smokey.
Smoking Joe Brown.
Down.
John Brown.
Hills. Wow. My guy came through for me. I didn't even think this guy caught passes.
Fuzzy Donlup with an extremely random poll, unless I missed something from earlier in the chat. Rat Race is a great movie. Seth Green makes it, and John Lovitz. Mr. Bean. It's a great cast. Love Rat Race. One of my favorite movies when I was like in middle school.
Yes, that is a good call.
Haven't seen that in years. I might try and find that
streaming. I haven't seen that in years either. It's a good call though, Rat Race.
Very good movie. That's a fun Friday night movie.
Oh, like 80s movie, whenever it came out.
No, that was definitely like 90s, early 2000s.
Was it 90s? Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think you're right, actually.
I remember that as a kid.
Well, give me some reviews. Again, spoilerless reviews. Let me know about Black Widow. Keith Gorman
Jordan Warren saying he forgot he has Disney Plus. He has the bundle with ESPN and Hulu. That's nice. You got the little bundle action.
Must be. Willie Mack is actually playing pretty good, so he can stop with the jokes, pal. I was never out on him. He just wasn't that good. Now he is. It's a good story, Willie Mack. You guys should Google it. John Brown though, man, little slant. I don't know. Last time, I gotta check his. I'm in first in the free roll, by the way, so just wanted to throw that out there.
Just saying, you just jinxed yourself though.
Oh no, I this is all gonna go my way. Come on, we're here on a Friday. We're gonna get this done. John Brown, 36% out. I'm actually surprised he's 36% out. I guess people knew something I didn't. But 13.1 points. Who's the last? Did 20? He hit the bonus once. 26 points. I think that's his high. 26 points. Yeah, he's only hit over 20 points twice, John Brown. So got a chance at like a career.
He's too hit or miss for me. I never put him in my lineup.
Like the first time I've ever played him.
Yeah, can't rely on the guy. Michael adding to our Slack channel that Tom Hanks turned 65 today.
Yeah, man, that'll make you feel a little old, hey?
Love Tom Hanks. Yeah, I can't believe he's 65.
I know. Fucking that senior citizen.
He looks great.
He does. He still looks good. I remember when Tom Hanks was just known for being a comedic actor. He had done no serious roles.
That would have been a waste if he stayed that way. One of the best actors we have.
Yeah. Apparently, I'm already not in first. Yeah, it's true. I'm down to 8th.
Yeah, come on. You knew that was going to happen.
Oh, totally. What I need now is a Julio bomb. He's my captain, so I should have captained Smokey Brown.
That's something I would never do.
Captain John Brown? Yeah, that's
I'd never think to do that. If we're going to make a list of people I'd captain between these two teams, Julio, Todd Gurley, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, and maybe if I'm feeling crazy, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, Ridley
Those would be the 5 people I would captain.
Yeah, I think Ridley is pretty much as low as I would go as well.
Yep. I used to get a little crazy and throw Russell Gage in there. I've learned my lesson. He's good to have in your lineup. You can't captain him.
Yeah, you don't want to captain him. Don't want to captain Russell Gage.
Can't do it.
No, not going to do it.
Not going to do it.
Oh, what was that? Incomplete. All right, second and 10.
Moose muted himself for a second to do some parenting. I respect that. Maybe he's talking to the dog. And now he just ran out of his seat. Moose has left the sim, folks. I'll be taking it from here. Ask me any of your Moose/Canada related questions. I'll do my best to answer. He is muted and he is gone. Julio Jones with the grab.
Sorry about that.
Jeff is back, folks.
Bad timing with the puppy tonight.
How are things going with the puppy?
Oh no, it's going good. It's just, you let them in, you let them out. You put them in their crate for a bit. They sleep and they get up and they're active. It's hard to time properly for when you need them to sleep and when you want them to be up. So
it's like having another baby, isn't it?
Oh, it's completely like having another kid. It's all good though. She's doing good.
How difficult is it with the new puppy? Like how long before it's not a burden usually?
Oh,
like how many months? At
least I would say 6 months, like minimum. And the thing is, even when they're still 6 months, they still got like a bunch of spunk. They just they know the rules a bit better, so they're not as big as crazy, but they got like spunk until they're like over a year old, and then it's like. Yeah, it gets better every month. They learn the rules. They stop, doing stuff inside. But they never really stop being puppies until they
pooping and whatnot.
She's pretty good about that. She never poops in the house. It's just she just gets into things and doesn't listen. She's a puppy, man. She's hilarious. There goes Josh Allen.
So Jared Wood says A Quiet Place 2 was way better than Quiet Place 1. I disagree, sir. Disagree. I asked people to throw out their best Canada-related questions while you were gone.
Oh, yeah.
And I said I would try my best to answer them.
Seems as though
the chat has caught up to real time here. Rossi's Fat Cat asking, what is Canada Day? I know Jeff explained this to me like last week, but I completely forgot already. My guess will be it is the day that celebrates the independence of Canada. The same way that we celebrate independence on July 4th. Am I correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it celebrates the Canadian Confederation, which it's actually not really the independence of Canada Day. It's where they were just united into a British Empire called Canada. So there was like a bunch of territories and then they united them. So it's not really like we gained independence from Britain. It's more like we just became united, all the territories of Canada into one. So it's not really like Independence Day, but
England
it's
still kind of claims you guys, don't they?
Well, no, we just recognize the monarchy. We we're separate from them, but we're one of those. We're like New Zealand and Australia and those countries, completely independent. Like Britain has no say over what we do or anything, but we do recognize the monarchy, whatever that means. I don't even know exactly what it means, to be honest.
I was going to say, what is that? Like, I recognize the monarchy as well, but they have no impact on my life.
Yeah, I don't.
I recognize that it exists.
I know the answer to this question, exactly what it means, but you know what it is? We have a governor general, which like represents the queen in our government, but she basically has like no power.
Has a say.
But she basically has no power. Like she doesn't really do anything. She has like certain duties, the governor general, but that's like the one thing. It's like the homage to the queen. The governor general in Canada represents the queen in Canada. So
the queen could come sit in on meetings if she wanted to, but she just sends her guy. He takes notes, reports back.
Yeah. He doesn't even report back. Sorry, I was just watching that play. Oh, they got
down.
I was waiting for it to like just go dead and then answer your question, but all right, Hayden Hurst, Hail Mary
in my lineup.
All right, everything's happening.
Love that.
14-7.
Right at the end of half.
Dang. Okay. Well, that'll do it. That was Hayden Hurst. Matt Ryan just launching it. Right as we were talking about, how dare you? Right when we were talking about the Queen of England too.
Very disrespectful to the Queen. That's my British accent.
I don't have
bad.
Matt Ryan or
awful.
Hayden Hurst in my lineup, so I guess that ends my chances of winning. I shouldn't have been so gloaty when I was in first for a second. Anyways, quickly, we'll just give you Matt Ryan. We don't even have you know what? We'll have the stats updated after. We got a little sweat clip to throw to here at halftime. And earlier on today, on the sweat, Paul Bruno, AJ Schultz, and me, we previewed the early odds for the 2022 Stanley Cup, just the whole Stanley Cup. Here it is, guys. Enjoy. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
So in terms of early favorites for the 2021-2022 season, it's the Avalanche, not the Lightning, who are current Cup favorites for next season. Colorado plus 500, Tampa plus 700 for the three-peat. Do you think the odds makers got it right, Paul?
Look, I agree with Colorado being a top pick, first of all, because I'll assume they re-signed Makar, Landeskog, and Saad and their goalies to return to the core group. They have a lot of cap space, unlike the defending champs. They also Colorado also has the benefit of what will be a softer division out west. Meanwhile, the champs could look very different next year, guys, and will be weakened as they won't be able to pull off the cap manipulation that they did this year. The Bolts have 17 players currently signed for $85 million. That's already over the cap. And that doesn't include guys like Savard, Foote, Colton, Coleman, and Goodrow, all of who played a big role in this Cup win. And they also need to sign a backup goalie. The long and short of it, I expect them to come back to the pack in a competitive Atlantic division. I would rather favor Colorado out of these two.
AJ, what about you?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything Paul said is absolutely correct in terms of the cap hit. We'll just wait for the news that Nikita Kucherov is hurt and is going to miss the regular season again, and then they'll be fine. No, I mean, to Paul's point, though, you look at it, they need to – the Lightning are going to lose a top six player. Like, they're going to hope that Seattle takes Tyler Johnson maybe and his $5 million cap hit, but the entire league had a chance to take Tyler Johnson and that cap hit, and nobody wanted it. So I just don't know that Seattle would necessarily take him. Then they're stuck in that position. So they'll potentially have to make somebody like Andre Palat, Yanni Gourde, like available that's a little more attractive to the Kraken there. And so I think they're going to lose the top six player. Paul mentioned all the cap space that they have in Colorado, so they don't have to worry about that as much. And let's be honest, they could sit on signing Landeskog to a new deal until after the expansion draft. Then they don't have to protect him if he's not under contract.
Jeff, plus 500, Colorado the favorite, Tampa Bay plus 700 for the three-peats. Odds makers, did they get it right?
Yeah, look, I mean, you look at it and you say, why is Colorado a favorite? I mean, okay, they have Nathan McKinnon, but they lost to Vegas, and then obviously Tampa Bay just won the Cup for the second year in a row. But you do have to look at the dynamics that are going to change in the offseason, and Colorado is just in a better spot. They've got the young defense. They're going to be able to bring all these guys back. They're going to do it. They're going to be smart about it, like AJ said, in my opinion. And Tampa, it's also just a story of two divisions. Tampa got by, their division this year, but they also, they didn't win the division, and they got Kucherov back for the playoffs. Like, it just worked out so perfectly for Tampa Bay last year. I don't see that happening again. They're in the tougher division. I agree with this. I do think the odds makers got it right. I think Colorado should be the slight favorite over Vegas. So. What's up, guys? Welcome back in. Hopefully you enjoyed that little early preview of the Stanley Cup for next year. And a little bit of early NHL talk never hurts. Definitely was an interesting season this year that they got through. But we are back. We are back with this sim. We are back with the Bills. We ended with a Hail Mary, Tom Carroll.
Yeah.
The guy was getting shut out by Kyle Pitts. The guy
Matt Ryan.
Forgotten about.
With an homage to his Boston College roots with the Hail Mary to end the half. It bumped me down to 90th. I don't know how that happens. Maybe because I don't have Matt Ryan in my lineup. But I have Hurst.
I'm still in 8th. I'm surprised I didn't get bumped down more.
I mean, Singletary's not doing a lot for me. Koo doing nothing. Lee Smith with the bagel. Julio's in my captain spot. He only has 10.3 points. So underperforming half from my lineup.
I'm
not
sure how I'm still in 8th, but I'll take it because I didn't have either one of those guys. Anyways, that's a crazy end to the half. And before I forget, as we're just waiting for the sim, guys to get their stuff together here and kick off, I'll remind you again: 2 free-to-play pools on the DraftKings Sportsbook, guys, for tomorrow night. UFC 264, 225K free-to-play pools. Go check them out, guys. Go do it now because you're going to forget. And the fight's going to start and you'll be like, oh my God, there was free money. I could have been winning on this. Free rolls. So go do it. There's also a free-to-play pool on the DraftKings Sportsbook for Monday night for the Home Run Derby. Who's going to win the Home Run Derby, Tom?
Trevor Story.
Trevor Story.
That's my pick. Familiar with the field.
True.
Good in the thin air.
Likes the angles.
Yeah. I mean, it's a safe pick. Just going with the home field guy. I think Ohtani's coming in with a lot of hype, so he'll do poorly.
There's a lot of action on Ohtani, apparently, so that'll be interesting. I kind of just wanted to watch it just for him because that's who everyone's on, so.
Ana Violeta Irizarry Nunez on YouTube. First of all, I appreciate your full name like that. Very cool. Saying, where's Mike Vick? Mike Vick, not playing quarterback here, folks. Matt Ryan, your quarterback for the Falcons. But Mike Vick making an appearance in our top 7 greatest number 7s in NFL history list on Great Game Nation this week. I had Michael Vick ranked 3rd all time for number 7s. Go check that out. Check out the list, fam. Great Game Nation, Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
I can't remember who it was I was talking to. We had some issues with your list.
Yeah, look, it's a biased list. I fully admit my bias. Was it Koff you were talking with?
No, I think it was... It might have been Emerson. No, I don't think it was Emerson. Christian. I think it was Christian.
Fair. I could see why Christian wouldn't like my list. My list is full of bias. Okay, I'll give you my unbiased list if you want it.
Okay, yeah, if you have a different one, sure.
If I was to go unbiased, and I don't have it all listed out in front of me, but I know that Doug Flutie wouldn't be on it. Although he's nipping at the heels because it's really not that impressive of a group of guys that have worn number 7 in the NFL.
And whoever I was talking to about it, that's what we came to an agreement too. We're like, this isn't really that good a number. Like, there's not that many good players.
Oh, Lamarca didn't like my list apparently. Mike.
Yeah, it was Lamarca. That's who.
Yeah, I could see that. Ben Roethlisberger should be number 2. Flutie shouldn't be on the list. And replacing Flutie should be someone like Ron Jaworski or Ken O'Brien. Or the name is escaping. Burt Jones, I believe, who won an MVP with the Colts like way back in the day.
Sure.
Those 3 guys definitely more deserving than Flutie. But look, it's my list. I'm a Pats fan, so I felt like putting Ben Roethlisberger 7th out of 7. Sorry, my list. That's how it works. Oh, I'm a BC fan? Cool, I'm putting Flutie 4th. Sorry, my list.
I feel like having Flutie on there is fine. He's a good player. I mean,
he was, but he's not synonymous with the number 7.
True.
True. And that has to be a part of the consideration. And most of his years that were dominant were spent in the CFL and in college, where I don't think he wore 7, and he definitely didn't wear 7 at BC. And in the CFL, I believe he wore 2. I think he was. Did he carry 22 into the CFL like he wore in college? So, yeah, I can fully admit that Flutie doesn't need to be in the top 7. I can fully admit that.
Let me see here. Doug Newt, Flutie number. Yeah, he did wear 2. Good call. I didn't even know that.
Michael saying Boomer ? Yes, Boomer was 6th on my list. My top 7. I'll go in reverse order. 7th, Ben Roethlisberger. 6th, Boomer Esiason. 5, Joe Theismann. 4, Doug Flutie. 3, Michael Vick. 2, Morton Anderson. And number 1, John Elway. I couldn't ignore John Elway.
No, absolutely. I feel like the Elway choice is absolutely fine. Obviously, Ben should have been up higher. But no, good for you.
He should be number 2. He should be number 2. But I'm a Pats fan.
You had 2 lists. that shows character.
I was talking about it with Cough the other day. I fully admit it. There's a ton of bias on this list. Yeah. I tweeted it. I mentioned it on the pod. I'm not hiding the biases. I also felt bad for not including Morton in the top 7 nicknames list a few weeks ago, so had to throw him a bone and put him number 2 on the 7s list. And you can make a strong case that he is the second best 7 of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not an impressive list of guys.
No, I think he definitely should be in the top 5, 100% easily. Like, you know, so it's really not. It's weird. When I was looking at the number, I'm like, I really just feel like this number would have been more
better,
popular.
right?
Yeah, like 7 is. Oh, we get a shot at the end zone. Oh, he came down with it.
John
Brown again, 31-yard touchdown.
He's having a career day, folks. He's gonna get the wooden nickel. I don't see anyone else
of his life.
The puppy is making an appearance on the Zoom, folks.
I'm
hoping that the puppy remains there for the quarter break for everyone to see.
I don't think my hand will be able to handle it.
We need breed, we need name, we need stats. Give us the info on the puppy. People are asking. People are talking.
He's a Springer Spaniel, just like Emerson's, black and white. Her name's Pepper, and she's 10 weeks old. We got a tie game here, 14-0. She's just a rascal right now.
John Brown hits the bonus. Pepper is gone, by the way, folks. Maybe she'll come back. Let's not.
Well, she's trapped in my room for now. If she goes out, she's going to be in her crate, which she'll like less. So she'll
John
have to make
Brown,
the decision.
3 catches, 110 yards.
So he hit the bonus as well. Wow, this is like so he's in a career game here. What we're seeing. Yeah, 29 points for John Brown. That's his best sim performance. And we got lots of game left, man. Over a quarter, so.
So we're being asked to do number 8 for who were the best players to wear number 8. So we'll take a look quickly at that. Let's go to Pro Football Reference. If you guys are looking to do that, you can find this on Pro Football Reference. Just Google it. Say all the players to wear number and then put the number in. Brings you right to the Pro Football Reference page that does this. Steve Young is number 1 for AV. Number 2 is Larry Wilson, who's in the Hall of Fame. So shout out Larry Wilson, legendary DB for the St. Louis Cardinals of football, St. Louis Football Cardinals. Troy Aikman, number 3. Mark Brunell, the 4th greatest 8 of all time. Number 5, Matt Hasselbeck. Number 6, Archie Manning. Number 7, Kirk Cousins. And then it gets hilarious after that. Lamar Jackson is already in the discussion here. So Cousins was 7th. That's 8.
Wow.
Matt Schaub is 8th. 9. Ryan Longwell's ahead of him, 9th. So Lamar Jackson is, according to AV, is the 10th greatest number 8 in NFL history.
So basically, if you have number 8 and you're a quarterback, you basically you're just mediocre, because that's like the list of mediocre quarterbacks that played. Mark Brunell had a long career, Kirk Cousins had a long career, but those guys just don't they never really did anything great, right? So obviously good players. I mean, look, they're sustained run in NFL as a starter. You're good at football. I'm not disputing that, but that is an interesting name of list of guys who played for a long time and legitimately okay, so we had Schaub, Cousins, Brunell. Who else?
A lot of mediocre quarterbacks.
Who else?
Just in the top, looking at the top 25 here, because it's hard to keep track after that.
No, but
it's not numbered. David Carr, Marcus Mariota, Sam Bradford, John Kitna, Rex Grossman, Tommy Maddox, Kyle Orton. There's some hilarious kickers and punters mixed in here as well. Ray Guy is almost in the top 10.
I'll tell you, this does not bode well for Lamar Jackson's future.
Number 8 is a dicey number. Morton Anderson is in the top 35 for greatest eights ever, and it's not even the number he's most synonymous with.
Who is number 1 for 8? Steve Young?
Steve Young.
Yeah, okay.
It goes Steve Young, Larry Wilson, Troy Aikman are the top 3. All 3 of those guys in the Hall of Fame.
So after Aikman and Young, it's just like
the whole lot of mediocrity until you get down to Jackson, who you think at some point will climb up that list.
Yeah, it's a very boom or bust number. You're either going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, or you're going to be like a clipboard holder for the back half of your career.
Our resident Jaguars fan, the president of the Jaguars fan club, stumping for Mark Brunell, saying he should be number 1.
He's pretty good in his prime, Mark Brunell. He wasn't a slouch. Like, I'd take him over a lot of those other guys. I take him.
Hey, he had Jacksonville in the AFC Championship game early in their run as a franchise.
He's a very competent quarterback.
That team was fun. Jimmy Smith, Fred Taylor, Prime Brunell, Tony Baselli playing tackle. It's a good squad.
They had some serious wide receivers there. Jimmy Smith, I remember being so good.
Jimmy Smith is the only player that retweeted one of Rossi and I's Mount Rushmores that we did. And it was like the second one we did.
Oh, I remember
2.
Yeah.
We did 2 in the first night. I think we did Panthers and Jaguars. And Jimmy Smith retweeted it. And he was we were all pumped. We're like, oh, yeah, all these guys are going to retweet these throughout. It's going to be great content. The only guy to do it, did it the first day, didn't happen after that.
Yeah, Fred Taylor.
But shout out Jimmy Smith for doing that.
Yeah, no doubt. He was good, though. That's like a very underrated receiver.
He has legit Hall of Fame candidacy type numbers.
Yes, he does.
Looking at it that day when we made that list, he was incredibly underrated for his era.
He's very, very good. Okay, 14-14. Josh Allen, two passing touchdowns. Matt Ryan, still only 147 yards, even with that Hail Mary, but he's got 1 passing touchdown. If you're just joining us, talking about all things
football.
Jacksonville, the number 8. The new Black Widow movie.
Guys, throw out some numbers you want us to run through. I love this game. I did it the other day with Koff, but I don't care. It's fun.
We got a
any number you guys want us to go through. 88 was a one that had a lot of really good players. 80, 12 was the best ever. Shocking because it had Brady, Rodgers, and Bradshaw.
Oh yeah, that is a classic number.
Really, really strong group of dudes at 12. There's a few other ones I'm blanking on. I'm just gonna look real quick. Oh, don't freeze on me. Don't freeze on me.
Bossman says, who's shutting out Lee Smith?
Pull up 12 here.
Last time I saw Lee Smith, he caught like 10 passes, so I think he used up all his passes.
So 12 is so strong. This is the upper echelon here, starting at number 1. Brady, Rodgers, Bradshaw, Bob Greasy, Jim Kelly, John Brody, Roger Staubach, Joe Namath, Joe Ferguson, Kenny Stabler, Randall Cunningham, Charlie Johnson, Marquise Colston, Rich Gannon, Andrew Luck, Chris Chandler. And then it gets funny after Chris Chandler, I'd say. Chris Chandler is a guy that was good in his day. Got a Falcons team to a Super Bowl. Yeah, 14-2 with him as a starter. Chris Chandler was a good dude for his era.
He had a couple good years for sure. That's who Mike Vick took over from, right?
Was that the guy he took over for?
I want to say
I did not know that. And not off the top of my head, I don't know who Vick took over for.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but
other dudes on the 12 list worth noting: Doug Williams, Gus Frerotte. Gus Frerotte played forever, huh? 94-08. Concussed Frerotte. He's a listener of the pod, though, so we respect Gus Frerotte. Him and Morton are friends.
He had a good arm.
Percy Harvin, sorry for forgetting how to speak for a second. Mohamed Sanu. That's kind of a funny name to be there. I guess we're pretty far down this list now, though.
That's
Trent Dilfer.
Super Bowl winner.
So, I'm a big fan of the numbered game. It's a fun, like, snapshot of certain errors when you look at the numbers. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you get guys, you're like, oh yeah, that guy was really good. And then you remember the NFL is like one of those, for me, the numbers in NFL, like I just group players by position. Like it's hard for me to even remember their numbers in the NFL. I know that sounds weird maybe, but other sports, it just seems like way more.
Well, because I think I know what you mean, because in basketball, you know, Michael Jordan is synonymous with 23, and Larry Bird synonymous with 33. At least for me, like those two numbers, when I see them, I immediately think of those people.
Yeah.
No matter what. So I just think because of that with basketball, that like Jordan making 23 such a brand, that permeates throughout the whole sport of like numbers being a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to run through some of these. And you guys are throwing out some great numbers who I know have fun players attached to them. But the first one that I'm seeing here that I want to try is 17, because it feels so random to me.
17, yeah.
Like I'm very curious what 17 produces.
Very good player.
Number 1, Phillip Rivers.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't even
Dave
know.
Craig, Jim Hart, Steve DeBerg. So a lot of old school quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Harold Carmichael, who's getting in the Hall of Fame this summer. Billy Kilmer, Richie, Pettit Bond, Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill, 17, man.
Shout out to Tanny in the mix there for the greatest number 17 of all time. Brian Sipe, Don Meredith, who was good in his day. Jake Delhomme, Devontae Adams, pretty high on this list.
Yeah.
Alshon Jeffrey, Mike Wallace, a great receiver in his day. Braylon Edwards checking in. Plaxico Burress, Jason Campbell. So after Jason Kidd, Josh Allen is decently low, but I mean he hasn't played for that long, so it's tough to make the rankings when they use AV as the way to sort it. So, but Josh Allen is in the mix, folks. Let's do reverse order.
That's like the old quarterback number. Old 17.
So 17. That's a good one to start out with.
We have not had points scored in this game in a very long time.
Brutal game. Let's check out 81. I think because we did 80 and 80 the other day. 81.
Feels like there's probably some really good receivers in there.
Carl Eller is number 1 on that list. Terrell Owens, ever heard of him? Number 2. Tim Brown, number 3. Art Monk, Anquan Bolden, Jackie Smith, Calvin Johnson, Doug Atkins, Amani Toomer, underrated quarterback.
Not a Tuma.
Receiver.
He was
Torrey
good.
Holt, I thought would be higher, but I think he played some seasons with a different number. I think he changed numbers early in his career.
Yeah, you might be right.
That's probably why.
Did he change teams at some point?
No. Well, he tried to make the Pats late in his career.
Oh, okay.
And got cut because of knee injuries. I believe it was knee injuries.
Stuffing.
Terrence Mathis, Ernest Givens, Roy Green, Jack Gregory, Anthony Carter, who's an underrated receiver from his time in the league. So there you go, 81. Let's do 55 is going to be strong at the top. I feel 55 is going to be a group of just bruisers. Here we go. Junior Seau, Derek Brooks, Terrell Suggs, Chris Handberger, Lance Briggs, Wayne Walker, Leroy Jordan, Joey Porter, Maxie Bond, Willie McGinnis, Scott Studwell, Doug Buffon. I definitely pronounced that wrong. I mean, that's a strong list off the top. John Abraham is in the mix. Good player for a long time. I think he gets forgotten. Matt Millen.
That is a good list.
To him.
Matt Millen. We should put another John Smokey Brown slant touchdown there. That was close. He's not played to perfection in this game.
Anthony Barr. Jack Del Rio. Pretty high on that list. People forget he was a good player.
He was good. That's true.
Jim Hazlitt's on here.
All right,
Dahani Jones. So there you go. There's 55.
3rd and 1. This is a big play from the 39. I don't know if they can hit the field goal here. I don't know if old Seabass has it in him.
Let's try 23. Obviously, Michael Jordan's number. Let's see what it does for us in the NFL here.
Running backs.
Let's see what happens after this play.
And Singletary going to find his way.
In my lineup. So actually, number 1 on the 23 list is Troy Vincent, who is a guy who has a massive impact on the league still, with all the negotiations that are always happening with the CBAs in the NFL. We'll get back to that list in a second here. First down run here for the Bills. You like that if you're a Zach Moss owner. Patrick Surtain, his son's in the league now, but he's number 2 all time for 23s. So we're getting DBs at the top of this list.
No RBs on 23?
Dave Witzel, Brig Owens, Joe Hayden, Mike Wagner, Quentin Jammer, Blaine Bishop, Marcus Trufant, Arian Foster is the highest running back of note on here.
Surprised there wasn't a few more.
Pierre Thomas is in here. D'Angelo Hall.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and a defensive heavy number there.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a good list of cornerbacks.
Absolutely.
Here
Josh
goes
Allen with the run.
Don't fumble, Josh. 2-minute warning.
Right. Kareem throws out 19. These random numbers in the teens are fascinating to me. Johnny Unitas, number 1, obviously. Lance Allworth. Keyshawn Johnson is the 3rd greatest 19 in NFL history. Bernie Kosar. Ted Ginn Jr. Yeah, you heard me right there.
Yeah, 19, man. It's true.
Ted Ginn Jr. is the 5th greatest 19, according to AV, in NFL history, if you're using that stat. Bill Munson, Scott Mitchell, Essex Johnson, Lance Rentzel, Adam Thielen, Cotton Davidson, Miles Austin, who people hated the other day when he came up in conversation. Miles Austin stinks. Well, as far as 19s go, he's pretty good. Juju Smith-Schuster, high on that list.
Juju.
Kenny Galladay, Amari Cooper.
Yeah, it's popular number.
Dudes on here. Tom Tupa. Joe Montana is in the mix because I believe he wore that number with the Chiefs. So he's higher than you'd think for a guy that's not synonymous with that number.
3rd and 10. Big one coming up
here. What we do here, Bills.
Probably going to run it. Cowards.
They want the easy points.
Yeah, easy points, but you're leaving them with 1 timeout. Over a minute left. Probably going to get OT here.
Herb Dog says, TC, if you're going to be biased, don't play this game. It's just annoying. I'm just reading what the website says at this point. I'm not creating my own lists based on
this isn't Tom making a list off.
No, my number 7 list for my podcast is biased, but this is just Pro Football Reference putting things in order based on the approximate value stat, which is, by the way, let me read you their definition of it.
Jordan, who'd you take at number 7? Says he got pick 7 in a draft. Let us know who you took. I want to know.
Approximate value is our attempt to attach a single number to every player season since 1960. So it's sort of like war. Number 45, Dave Grayson, Gary Fensick, who's pretty good. Ed Shirachman, Homer Jones, Kenny Easley. A lot of hard-nosed dudes in here. Otis Smith. That number's not as fun. I'll be honest.
All right, so Falcons got 1 timeout left. Field goal tie.
Matt Ryan at the helm. See if he finds anyone. Bills defense bottles him up. Matt Ryan out here looking like the galloping chicken. Brutal. Brutal. I'm going to do 77 here. Let's look at some awesome offensive line, shall we?
That is not a good start for Atlanta.
No, not what you want. Greatest number 77 of all time. Jim Trier.
77? Did you say?
Yep. I just completely brutalized this name. Tyre? I don't know. Tyrer. How would you pronounce that?
Yeah, I don't know. Tyre? I don't.
Tyre?
It's French.
Willie Rofe, number 2. Andrew Whitworth, number 3. Tyron Smith.
3rd and 23. Matt Ryan's got all day, and he's going to check down for 2 yards, because why not? A little check down on 4th and 20 or 3rd and 23.
You hate to see that.
4th and 19. They do have a timeout left, so I mean, if you can chuck it deep to midfield here, they'll have a shot. 38 seconds. They'll need to clock the ball too. But.
Who do you think is the greatest number 11 in NFL history, according to AV?
Oh, God. See, I'm so bad with the numbers. I just incomplete.
Kurt is correct here on our Zoom. Drew Bledsoe is number 1. I for sure thought it would be Larry Fitzgerald, but he is 1 point ahead of Larry Fitzgerald. Drew Bledsoe, greatest number 11 of all time, according to Pro Football Reference. Larry Fitzgerald, number 2. Alex Smith, number 3. Julio Jones, number 4. Wow. Phil Simms, 5. Danny White, 6. Greg Landry, 7. Dante Culpepper, 8th. Jim Everett, who I think people more remember for the Jim Rome thing than him actually being a pretty good player, is in here. Julian Edelman, who people think will be in the Hall of Fame. I do not. Is here. Sebastian Janikowski, Mark Rippon, Roy Williams, Carson Wentz, high on this list. Wade Wilson, Cole Beasley. This is a fun group of guys. It just tails off so quickly.
It's pretty high end, though. Top end, though.
Yeah, the top is really strong. All right, I think we got enough for the numbers.
That's that's all she wrote, because Matt Ryan put up the most pathetic series in sim history there.
Let's give that wooden nickel to John Brown.
Yeah, it's got to be John Brown. He's had a career game, 4 catches, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. How many sim points did he have?
I finished in 109. That's horrible.
31.6 points
updated
for John Brown. Yeah, 31.6 points for John Brown. That won't get changed because he hasn't caught a pass in like 5 minutes. I finished in 22nd. Shout out to Mike Drumma. He had John Brown in the captain spot. John Brown was 4.6% owned there.
There you go.
Very nice play. Who's your not my kid award? Who's your
I'm gonna go with Julio Jones.
Who's your Tom's terrible player of the game? That's the one thing Deucey and I decided today. We're giving specific names to the non-players. Like, it's none of this Kaufman's. It's Tom's terrible player of the game and Tom's terrific player of the game. So John Brown got Tom's terrific player. Who's your Tom's terrible player of the game?
Okay. So wait, do Tom's terrific players get wooden nickels as well? Or?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. I want to give it to Julio Jones, who did not live up to the hype. Oh, here's the doggy.
No, definitely give it to Julio.
Yeah, Julio did nothing. What's going on, Pepper?
Oh, she's frisky. She needs some outdoor time here. We're about to go for a walk.
She needs to release the energy.
Yeah, Julio Jones, man. We got to go with Julio.
He is bad. So, yeah, he gets the babysitter Billy or whatever the heck you want to call it.
All right. I'm going to put this thing down.
Let the dog out.
And then I'm going to give you the schedule for tomorrow really quickly here, dudes.
Do it.
Appreciate you guys joining us on this Friday. Hope everyone's having a great Friday. Hit that like, guys, if you could. And again, those free-to-play pools on the DraftKings Sportsbook, they're there. 2 of them for UFC tomorrow night, 2 25Kers, another 25Ker for the Home Run Derby on Monday. Check those out, last reminder. But tomorrow's schedule, Saturday, July 10th, Broncos, Chargers, 12 p.m. Eastern. Rossi and Tom to kick things off. 2 p.m. Eastern, Texans 49ers, Rossi and Tom again. Then 4 p.m. Eastern. Well, folks, the Moose Show starts 4 p.m. Eastern. Rams and Ravens, Rossi and me, Rossi and myself. I should use proper grammar here. 6 p.m. Eastern, Vikings and Packers, Rossi and I. I'll be on for 4 straight. 8 p.m. Eastern, Lions and Seahawks. We got Shirag Hira coming in for a sim. That'll be great. I haven't talked to Shirag for a while, so that'll be good. And then 10 p.m. Eastern, Lamarca is going to join me for the Browns and Steelers. It's going to be like having my own talk show tomorrow, Tom. I'm very looking forward to this. Just a whole stream, just to let it all out. Converse with the DK Sim fam. Going to have 3 different people to talk to. A little bit of Rossi action early, then end with Shirag and Lamarca. And Tom will be on for the early ones as well. So,
well, when you talk to Lamarca, make sure you clarify to him, I fully admit my biases.
Okay.
Like, I've been open about how biased my list is, and it's my list.
I'll tell him you think Doug Flutie should have actually been number 1.
How dare you?
Anyways, guys, hope you have a good rest of your Friday. We'll see you again soon. 6 Sims starting at 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.